Alrighty, today in the vise we have a TMC 5262 in size 18, and then we have a 3/32 gold tungsten bead, and then I've just wrapped a little bit of lead wire around the hook just to give it a little added weight, and then kind of broke it off close. And we are tying up arguably one of the best patterns I have in my box. I do have a love-hate relationship with this fly because it catches a ton of fish, but I'm not the best at tying it, and I need to get better. So practice makes perfect. Here I am trying my hand at making this better. So I'm going to tie in here some 70 denier black UTC thread, snip it fairly close there. And then what we're gonna do is just kind of build this body out. I'm gonna go just down to the bend of the hook. Probably right there is good. And then work my way back up. And then I'm gonna spend a lot of time right here between the lead and the back of the fly. And we're gonna build a ramp here for the copper to go up. So we're gonna keep building this up, kind of get that tornado shape going, and really try to give ourselves a better, cleaner looking fly. I am trying to see if I can capture that lead. It's not gonna happen for me, so let me see if I can snip it. There we go. That helped a little bit. And then we can come back through and wrap over it a little bit more. It won't matter totally because we're gonna have kind of a wire come up through there anyway, so it's not gonna matter a whole bunch. So as you can see, I am just trying to build up a nice taper on this fly. So I'm gonna spend a lot of time just kind of smoothing this out and getting a taper going. All right. So now that we have that pretty much completed, I'm going to leave my thread right there at basically the hook point, and we are going to tie in some goose biots. These are a brown dark goose biot, and I'm going to get a couple of them in my hand here. Here's what the goose biots look like. Very pointy. I tie them in separately because I'm just not very good at it. So what you want them to be is just kind of on that near and far side of the hook. So I do a loose wrap, and then I kind of bring them to where I think I'm gonna want them, and then I secure it tight, and then I do the other side separately. And I've just found that consistency is better. So with this opposite side one, you can kind of lay it on top of the hook, and then it'll sort of fall into place a little bit better if you do. And I think that's about what you're looking for right there. And then we're gonna just pull tight. And then as I walk kind of that thread forward, we can come in here and we can snip out these biots, the ends of them, and finish building our taper. There's our biots, and I'm going to get them wrapped down and keep building up here. Now what you can do is you can come behind the biot and you can work yourself back to that hook point, and that really kind of gets them to splay out the right way at the back of the hook. And we're gonna come here and we're gonna just kind of stop, I don't know, I would say a bead behind the head of the fly. The next thing you're gonna do is choose your color. I'm particular about color. I think red and copper are probably the best two. I have a lot of red in my box, so I'll just tie up a traditional one now. This is on the near side of the hook. This is a small copper UTC wire, and I'm just basically tying it in. Whoops. This is a copper. Hi, buddy. Do you want to what? No, please don't do that. Daddy's filming. We had a little bit of a break there. Kid came in. So I'm gonna just keep working that copper wire onto the inside of the body of this Copper John. And we're gonna just kind of get it tied in as a finishing point right there at the back. And then I'm just working on keeping it clean coming forward. There we go. So we have a nice smooth body there, and I'm gonna finish my thread right about the tip of the wing case. Then we're gonna take our small copper wire and we are going to start wrapping it. And the most important part of this fly is just trying to get consistency in the wraps. So you're probably gonna have to pull back towards your last wrap just to kind of consistently get a nice taper going on there. If you feel like you missed it, you can kind of do like we do a super hair and just work your fingers in there to keep pushing it back. But that's basically what we want, is a nice consistent flow. You can see I got just a barely little gap there. You can close it down with your fingernails. And then we can keep going here. Getting past the hook point is the biggest part of this game. Okay. Getting close here, getting close. And you're just coiling it up. And then once you get to about here, you don't have to be as particular because we are going to tie it off now. So we're gonna just get a couple loose wraps in here to tie that off, and then you can helicopter this free. There we go. And then what we're gonna do is finish kind of wrapping it there. We're gonna maybe do a little bit further back. I would say kind of right there is where we wanna be. And then the next step is we're gonna tie in some medium opal or pearl tinsel. This is a pearl tinsel, and I'm going to lay it on the hook here and just do one capture wrap. You wanna make sure it's right on top there. And once you get it on top, you can secure that in your vise if you have a materials holder. I do. So I'm gonna hold that material back, and then you're going to tie in a piece of black thin skin. This is cut to just about the width of the hook bend, hook gap, I should say. And you are going to, again, tie that in curved down. And we are going to put this just kind of behind the bead eye. This helps kind of add a little bit of bulk too, which is kind of nice for that transition from the thread head, or from the lead rather. So I'm gonna work my thread back to, let me get that straightened out a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna work it to basically there. And then I'm just gonna kind of get this all threaded up. Kind of just work it and make it nice and smooth. So now we've got those two materials tied in. We are going to tie in some peacock curl. So I've got 4 or 5 strands of peacock curl here, and I'm going to take those strands, I'm gonna get them pretty much aligned at the tips, and then as long as they are back of the bead head, you'll be good to go. So there's not really a reason to like pull them totally back here. I just missed one, so let me just reset here. Okay, there we go. All right, let's get them all in there now. There we go. So just gonna bring those back to right behind that bead head, and then work that thread back to the top of that wing case, and then coming back forward and finishing right behind the bead head. And then while grasping all of them, you're going to just make a couple wraps. And these will kind of come apart a little bit as you're wrapping. And that's a good thing. We wanted that to happen so that we've got a nice bushy head here. And we are going to get a couple securing wraps and then come in here and snip that peacock curl close. So let's get a couple more wraps in there. That feels just about good. And then the last step of this fly is we are going to tie in some hen saddle feathers for the legs. So here's a hen saddle feather that I have. You could use Coq de Leon, you could use a whole bunch of different stuff, but this is a hen saddle feather. And I'm going to pull away from that feather maybe 8, 9 strands, something like that. About that many. And I'm going to lay these on the far side of the hook and do 1 loose wrap, 2 loose wraps. And then what you can do is the same thing we did, just grab the butt ends and kind of pull them back until you've got them where you want them. I kind of like to leave them a little bit longer on this fly, but you could do a little bit shorter. As long as you're not going too far beyond the bend of the hook, I think you're doing pretty good. So there's that side, and then I need to pull some more fibers free from this feather and clump them up. Here's the other clump, and we're going to put these on the other side, and those ones are obviously going to be a little bit more down angle. So once we get those pulled in, we'll kind of match them up so that the wings are fairly similar in size. Maybe pull this one just a hair more back. I think that's looking pretty good. So then what we're going to do is we are going to secure down those feathers and clip out the butt ends. So we're going to get as close as I can to clipping out those butt ends without clipping the legs off. Very important not to clip your legs off. All right, now what we want to do is we want to kind of fix the top of the fly here. So this is the edge you can see of that peacock curl. If I had sharper scissors, probably be able to get in there a little bit better. I just barely got it there. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this thin skin. We're going to pull that thin skin over the top of this fly. And while holding it in this position, we're going to take our thread and lay it over the top and just kind of hang it there. Then we do want to kind of stretch it a little bit, pulling forward and down and stretching. And then when we lay that thread over the top, if we just pull straight down, we'll get the best possible grip on that thin skin. So we're just pulling straight down, getting a good grip there, and then we're going to do the same thing with the tinsel. So we're going to lay a light, loose thread wrap over the top, and then once we think we have it in place, we're just going to pull straight down, and that's going to give us a nice little tie in there. And then we're going to do one more wrap with the tinsel forward, and then we're going to pull the tinsel back, and we're going to do another wrap, and this just really locks in that tinsel so that it doesn't really go anywhere. Then I'm going to snip my thin skin out, trying not to snip the tinsel at the same time. So grab my thin skin here and get fairly close on it and snip it out. There's that. And then we can re-secure the tinsel in the vise and get a 5-turn whip finish in here. 3 to 5, somewhere in there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do a 4-turn. All right, cool. So now that we've got that done, I'm going to snip out my thread. And now I can snip out my tinsel. Pretty close there on the back. And we are done with the tying portion of this fly. Tinsel just got kind of caught up there. Now we're able to move it back. So now it's more center. So that's kind of what we got for the fly so far. And then the last thing we need to do is coat this thing in UV resin. So I'm going to get some UV knot scents. and I'm going to put it on the end of my bodkin. And then I'm going to dab it first and foremost right on the back of the fly. You will want to push the legs out of the way. And then I try to get it on the head and then just barely on that copper wire on the back. But mostly you're just trying to beef up the wing case here. Get a nice fat wing case going on it. There we go. And that's really going to make all of those colors just kind of pop and stand out. So that right there is pretty much complete. And then we're going to get the UV. Pull those legs out. We're going to get the UV light going. And we're going to hit this with the UV. Knot sense is pretty good. And that right there is a completed Copper John. This one's a little bit fatter than I usually tie, but I'll put a red one in here so you can see a red one that I tied just before this. This one's got a little bit of a skinnier profile body, but that's a red one right there. And both very effective colors, but the Copper John you absolutely can't go wrong with. Tie them up for your box. Let me know how you do. This was Chris Edlin with Catching Colorado. Thanks for sitting through the fly tying episode. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. And any future flies you'd like to see me tie, please leave them down below as well. I'd love to tie up things that you guys are excited to see. Thanks so much, and hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in more relatable content, you can check out these videos right here. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you can stay updated on our next adventures.